Guys, welcome back to Wolfie TV and welcome back to Premier League predictions. We're near the end of the season now, and at the moment I'm currently recording these at half-time in between the Chelsea and Arsenal game. And I'll be honest, guys, usually I don't record them until the end of the game, but last week that meant that by the time I'd recorded it, it was all and edited it, etc., ready for you guys on Wednesday. It was nearly midnight and I have to get up at 6 for work. So do you know what? I just thought, let's face it, Chelsea have lost this game, haven't they? It's currently 3-0 at half-time. They're looking absolutely embarrassing. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to record them now. So, guys, if Chelsea have won or got back into it, I'm going to look an idiot, but I'm going to place my predictions that they're not, basically. So let's jump in to the actual predictions. And we start off with the team of the moment, Chelsea. God, already looking embarrassing against Arsenal there. Lampard playing Kante in an attacking mid position. I almost feel sorry for Lampard because the whole club's a mess and I feel like he's done the noble thing. He loves the club, I get it. But for his managerial career, absolute suicide. And they come up against a Bournemouth team who I don't even know if I can back Chelsea against Bournemouth because Bournemouth have been playing really well. They're looking really good. Premier League safety pretty much confirmed. They've got a good vibe about them, Bournemouth, since the turn of the year. And it's going to be interesting to see what Bournemouth do next season as well. And I think that, the fans and I think the majority of the Premier League now think they're safe. I think Bournemouth win this. I really do. I think things just carry on getting worse for Lampard. I'm actually going to go 2-1 Bournemouth to kick things off. We move on to Man City versus Leeds. And oh my God, Leeds, where do you start? Wow. Rumours that Sam Allardyce is going to be coming in the manager. 500k he'll get for his 4-game stint, plus a 2 mil bonus if he keeps them up. I pray for Leeds fans that this is just not happening. But by the time you guys are watching this, it may have even been put into place. We're also seeing fans ignoring kids as they come out of the hotel and putting up some weak apology, and that's before even getting onto the football, which looks absolutely disastrous. It's not a good time to be a Leeds fan at the moment, and it's looking more and more concerning. And of course, they come up against a Man City team. Do I need to say anything more about Man City? Just looking a real good team. I'd be surprised if they drop a single point, and I don't think they're going to drop any here. So let's waste no more time. 3-0 to Man City, even if Leeds do get Allardyce in. Might make it 4 if Allardyce comes in, to be fair. Wolves versus Villa, as always, guys, 6 o'clock tomorrow for that match preview. We obviously do a full match preview these days for whichever team Wolves is up against, and of course, Wolves as well. Guys, just a quick one for me, as always, before we get back to these Premier League predictions. You already know what I'm going to ask. Please hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And let's get back to those Premier League predictions. So let's move on to say the Spurs taking on Palace, and Spurs continue to do Spursy things. They thought they got it back. Richarlison top off, celebrating his first Premier League goal of the season. Minute later, 4-3 to Liverpool. The last-minute goal, which you thought was for Tottenham, ends up not being the last-minute goal. And the Cockerel's coming up against the Eagle in this game. And, well, the Cockerel, the Spurs, they really need to do well, don't they? Let's face it. They need to get a result here if they're going to have any chance of Europe. And it's not going to be easy, but Crystal Palace, a real mixture of form. Obviously, Roy coming in, started really well, little drop of form, but then seemed to go a little bit back. I think this could make a really good game. We've got teams that, to be fair to Spurs, they concede a lot, but they can also score as well. I think there could be goals in this. I am going to narrowly give it to Spurs, though. I'm actually going to go for a very bold 3-2 prediction. I think both teams will concede a few. Let's move on to Liverpool, who will now take on the Bees, Brentford. Both teams that are finishing the season strong. Brentford, obviously, they've finished the season much better than they're expected as a whole. I mean, they've just done incredibly well this season. But Liverpool, that big win against Spurs, which I've just touched on, Jurgen Klopp, for obvious reasons, has written up off the top four, and I think nobody really thought that Liverpool were going to get the top four, to be honest, before Jurgen even come out with that comment. But they will be hopeful of getting fifth, maybe get that in that Europa League, and at least that might help them maybe get a few more players in, because they've got a major rebuild coming in the summer. This isn't going to be an easy game against Brentford, but I do think Liverpool will narrowly do it, and I am actually going to say, I think I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory. Actually, I think Brentford could go for an equaliser and get caught on the break. Obviously, Liverpool now have got a lot of players coming back from an attacking sense, and they really are starting to move well as an attacking unit. They just need that creativity in midfield. Let's move on to speaking about Newcastle, who take on Arsenal. And Arsenal, as you know, guys, it's not fully finished, but I know they've got that result against Chelsea from what I've seen in the first half, and my God, didn't they need it. But Newcastle, on the other hand, they're flying really well. Isaac scoring, Wilson scoring at free well, other players scoring at free well. They've got some real depth to the squad as well now, and they feel like a real top four outlet. You know, this to me doesn't just seem like a one season wonder, and things are obviously not going to go as well next season. It feels like Newcastle are here to stay, and I imagine they will continue to invest in the summer, and who knows, maybe challenge a team like Arsenal, like Man City, for the title next year. It honestly would not surprise me, especially with Eddie Howe in charge. But this is going to be a really good game, and Arsenal will go into this needing a win. Nothing but a win will be good enough if they've got any hope of retaining the Premier League title, not retaining the Premier League title, but going and getting that Premier League title. Obviously spent a large amount of the season in first place. It's St. James's Park, though, isn't it? Newcastle at home. I don't think there's any team, even City, which I would actually go against Newcastle when they're at home at the moment, to be honest. So I think Arsenal will get some type of result, but I do think it'll be a draw, and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. I do think Newcastle and Arsenal will both get a couple of goals. Let's move on to speak about two Uniteds, West Ham United and Manchester United. And Manchester United, let's start off with them, because obviously getting a very good result to keep plodding along against, which was a really tough game actually against Aston Villa. You know, they obviously got that 1-0 victory, and they'll keep on pushing now. They'll finish nicely within that top four, and they'll be looking obviously forward to playing Champions League football. And obviously, as we know, that can mean big things when it comes to the transfer window and your ability to get players in, which Ten Hag will, I imagine, want to keep doing, and probably ship a few players out. West Ham, things are looking better for them. It's not all said and done, but West Ham, it does feel like they probably will stay in the Premier League now. And of course, they've got the Europa Conference League. And of course, if they win that, it would actually mean Europa League football, which would, in the end, would actually not be a bad season at all if they manage to perform that and pull that off. They're obviously playing a lot better than they have done for most of the season, but I am going to narrowly give this one to Man United. I think they'll just keep on marching on as well, very well at the moment, and I think it'll be a narrow 1-0 victory again for Manchester United. Let's move on to speak about Fulham, who take on Leicester. And he missed the penalty, didn't he, James Maddison, obviously against Everton. But I really think he was the main player on the pitch, really, for both sides, in terms of he just really outshone everyone. You really could tell that he's a player that shouldn't be that low down in the table. Everything Leicester do seems to come through him. And, you know, he's just a joy to watch. But he'll be disappointed about that penalty miss. And I reckon the whole Leicester squad as a whole will be wanting to redeem themselves, wanting to get a big win. But it's not going to be easy going to Craven Cottage, of course. Fulham obviously doing very well at home this season. And to be honest, I'm sorry, Leicester fans, I've just got a feeling that Fulham are going to pull off a win here. I think it'll be a narrow win. I think it's going to be a really good game, actually. But I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham. Let's move on to yet another big game. Of course, all games are big towards this end of the season. We've got Brighton, who are looking to get a European spot. and they've absolutely decimated my team, Wolves, at the weekend. They embarrassed us 6-0. Wow. Big scoreline there. And they looked really impressive. I'll be absolutely honest. They tore us apart and we looked weak, but at the same time, Brighton just looked so good, such enjoyable, free attacking football to watch, unless you're obviously on the receiving end of it. Everton, they'll be happy. They've got 2 goals, but fans not really happy with Sean Dyche, obviously continuing to play Michael Keane, and obviously, he's known him for an incredibly long time, which Everton fans don't seem to be liking. And the fact of his lack of substitutions really frustrated the Everton fans on that night, Monday night, wasn't it, when Leicester took on Everton. It's going to be a real difficult task here, and in all honesty, I don't think Everton fans will be expecting anything, and sadly for Everton fans, I don't think I'm expecting anything either. This is going to be a really tough game, and I am going to go 2-0 to Brighton. Let's move on to an absolutely huge game at the bottom. Nottingham Forest taking on Southampton, and in some ways this is a must-win game for both. Forest, they'll be feeling really downbeat at the moment. They thought maybe they had that against Bournemouth, but it wasn't to be. Southampton, it's just they need some huge results, don't they? Even if they manage to pick up 3 points, which isn't going to be an easy task. Obviously, with Forest being at home, we know obviously how much better their home form is compared to away. Steve Cooper under a lot of pressure now from the fans. Believes that some fans believing that he should be doing more. Other fans I've noticed kind of looking at the situation with Leeds, what happened to Leeds when they've lost Bielsa and how things have gone downhill there, because Cooper is very much their Bielsa. But of course, he's got the job of trying to keep them up, especially against their East Midlands rivals potentially in Leicester. They need the win here, Forest. I think sadly Southampton are probably already dead and buried. And I think with Forest's good home form, I think they will get it. And I actually think they'll do it in some style. I'm going to go 3-0 to Forest in this one. Guys, that is my Premier League predictions. As always, please drop me your Premier League predictions in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, do me a favour, hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.